Hello wonderful people, it's Wild here. Today I'm going to be showing you how to create a Victorian style haunted house. This spooky build is an absolute showstopper, and I'll show you how I go about decorating the exterior too. And don't forget that if you're creating this at another time of year, you could easily switch out the block colours to create a fantastic Victorian mansion. Alright, let's get building. The materials you'll need for this build are on your screen now. Keep in mind that since this is a larger build, it's always useful to have a few extra of each supplies on hand. If you are planning on switching out the colours to create a Victorian mansion, I'm using blue stained terracotta for my walls, so you can switch that out, and lime glass for my windows, and you could just use any colour glass you like. Here is the outline for our house. You can see that the house part is marked in there with the white and light grey concrete, and then we've got some additional bits marked in there with the concrete powder. You can mark in an outline like this one to help you when building. If we come down, you can see that we've got our large rectangle at the back here. We've got a smaller rectangle coming out the front, and then you can go ahead and add on these bits for where we've got balconies and our chimney at the back there. I'm going to start this build with some deep slate bricks, building 2 up all the way around the outline of the house. So we're going all the way across the back here behind the chimney. When we come to this right hand side where we've got this smaller balcony walking out, I'm going to come in 2 blocks like this, and then I'm going to leave out a little 2x1 area here for the doorway and continue my way around. Then when I get to the front of the build as well, I'm going to center myself. So where we have our center porch walking up to the doorway, I'll place in 1 of my bricks and then a placeholder block for the door. The rest we can just fill in now. Before we continue on with the rest of the walls, we're going to mark in where our windows are going. So I'm going to leave a 2 block gap above my door and add in a 1 high window, and I'll do that above this door as well. There we go. On this side wall where we have our door, I'm going to count 2 blocks in, and on the 3rd block I'm going to build up the height of my window. 1, 2, 3, 4, like that. Rotating around to the front of the build now, on this longer wall I'll count 2 blocks in and build up 4 high. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then I'll count across 3, 1, 2, 3, and on the 4th block I'll add another window, so it should be 2 blocks away from where the wall curves around. We've got 1 window on this side and it's 2 in. Got 2 windows on the other side wall, again 2 in from either side. And now onto the back wall. I'm going to start by counting 2 in from this side here. I'll count across 3 blocks and add in another window. Then I'm going to count across 3 blocks, 1, 2, 3, and add in my first window like this. Then I'll just skip 1 block and add in the next window and 1 block again and add in our 3rd window, so we have a little grouping of 3 here, and it should be 2 blocks away from where we've marked out our chimney. Now that that's sorted, I'm going to grab some stone brick, and where I've got these 3 blocks marked for the chimney, so it's 1 in from the side of the wall, I'm going to build up 6 high. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I can fill that in with the stone brick. I'll then take my deep slate and I'm going to add 1 more layer all the way around on top of the deep slate brick we've already got. And now for the rest of the walls, we're going to be using blue terracotta. You can see it has a more purple hue which works great for a haunted house. I'm going to build up 5 high. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that should bring us to the height of the stone brick. I'll go ahead and fill in all of my walls now up to this 5 high height, and you should find it is 2 above the height of the windows. Now that we've got these walls filled in, we're going to add on the next layer. I'm going to add another layer of stone brick here, Then I've got some grey concrete. I'm going to come around the outline. When I get to this half of the build, I'm going to just come out one like this. Then I will follow my way back and I should be centered above these two windows and then connect back up. So I'm leaving that little section of the build concrete free. I'm now going to take some stripped dark oak logs to fill in my floor. I'm going to be creating some floorboards by running them all in the same texture like this. And to break up some of the areas of the build, I'm going to switch up the direction that I have my planks running in. So for this section, I'm going to have them running this way. And then for this section of the build over here, I'm going to switch the direction. And you can see by laying them next to each other like this, you get the texture of large floorboards. So I'll go ahead and fill in this whole area. While I still have out my stripped dark oak logs, I'm going to fill in the floor for the next story. So for this section here, I'm going to fill it in the same direction like this. And then for the other part of the build, I'm going to keep it all going in this direction. Just like this all the way along. Now, when I get to this part of the build where we have no more of this concrete to build off of, I'm just going to place in a few temporary blocks. So that way, when I have in all of my logs, I'm sitting just in from this edge here, not on top of the edge. So you can see if I fill in this section, it'll look like that. And then I'll just fill in the rest like we were doing before. There we go, we're all filled in. I've added in a few torches and you can either add your staircase in now or at the end like I'm going to do. Before we get building the next story of walls, let's add in our windows. I'm going to start on this back wall and count 2 blocks in. I'll go 1 above the base here and build up 4 high. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm then going to count 3 blocks across and do the same thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, and again. So we've got 3 windows like this. On this side of the build, I'll count 2 blocks in, so we're above this other window and build up our window height. And again over this side, like this. Now moving on to the front of the build, I'm going to count 2 blocks in, add in a window, 1, 2, 3, 4, move across 1, add in another window, and 1 and add in another window. Like this. And then on the front of the build, I'm going to find the center and then to either side, I'm going to have a window. Like that. Now coming over to this section of the build, I'm going to grab some grey concrete and just place them along this edge in line where we have the floor, so it's set 1 in like this. Then in the center of this wall, 1 block above, I'm just going to have a 1 high window like that. Next, I'm going to line myself up with these 2 concrete blocks. And coming 1 in from that area, I'm going to build across, so I've got a 5 wide section. Then I'll build up 2 high and 2 high again in the center to add an area where we can have a gap in our wall. Now on to adding in the walls. I'm going to start on the chimney to begin with. If we're looking from the outside of the build here, working on the edge that's closest to the end of the wall, I'm going to build up 7 high. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This should be 2 blocks above the height of the window. And I'm going to do this 1 more over as well, leaving the 3rd one free. Now for the rest of the walls, I'm going to build up the 7 height like this using my blue terracotta, making sure I go underneath the windows as well as on top of the windows like this to fill everything in. Before I work on the rest of the walls though, I'm going to come to this section where we have a little triangle, and I'll build up 7 high. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm then going to fill in this wall going over the top of our little triangle that we've added in. And this is going to create the wall where the roof of this lower section is going to run into. Like that. And then the rest of the walls can be filled in just the same way as before. All of our walls are in for this story, so let's work on the 3rd story. I'm going to go around the whole outline here using the grey terracotta, or rather grey concrete here. And I'm going straight over the top of where we've got the stone brick for our chimney. Then I'm going to go ahead and start filling in my floor. For this level, I'm going to keep all the floorboards going in the same direction. It doesn't matter if you are going in the other direction, just make sure you keep them all the same. Now once I've got this first bit filled in, I'm going to take a break from filling in these floorboards to work on some walls. So we've got a 5 wide section across here, and I'm going to build that up 3 high. And then going to build 4 back on either side, 1, 2, 3, 4. So this wall is a total of 5 blocks long. And again over this way to connect everything up, creating a square. Now that that's in, I'm going to fill in the rest of the floor. Now it's time to work on the turret. So I'm centering myself at the front of the build and building up 4 high for our window. I'm then going to build up 6 high, so that's 2 blocks above the height of the window, with my blue terracotta to complete these walls. Next, I'm going to take some temporary blocks and go around the outline of this turret. After I've got that in, I'll grab some blue terracotta and go around this, so you can see it's sticking 1 block out. I can remove these temporary blocks, and in their place I'm going to fill in this floor just using some more of my stripped dark oak logs. And a torch to light it up. I'm going to mark in my window now, which is 2 blocks high, centered on the front and on the back. I'm then going to build 2 across to either side like this, and then 2 up, which will go over at the top of the window, and then 2 in the center. Okay, let's take a step back now. We've got all the basic shapes and walls in for our haunted house, so we can get decorating. The first thing we're going to do is work on this side of the build. I'm going to go ahead and remove these temporary blocks here. And following that same shape, I'm going to create the wall around this window. So it's 5 across the bottom, then I go around the window like this, and then up 2 like that. Now we're going to add in the chimney. So on top of this block here, I'm going to build 3 high, 1, 2, 3 with stone brick, and 2 behind that. And then I'll go ahead and fill in this shape behind the wall like this. I'm going to have some details coming forward here. We've got a stair followed by a chiseled stone brick and an upside down stair. Now coming up the build, we've got some stairs here like this, and some blocks on this side with chiseled blocks on top, and then we've got some upside down stairs. I'm also going to build up 3 high, 1, 2, 3 with some walls on top of there. Alright, working up another layer. So we're going to have 2 chiseled stone brick and then a 2x2 square of regular stone brick. Then we've got some stairs coming in here and some blocks on top of that, like this. I'm going to use some temporary blocks so that I can place some upside down stairs in a little plus shape like that. And I'll go ahead and do that on the other layer. And then to finish off this chimney, I'm just going to add 4 walls on top like that. So if we take a step back, here's what we've got. While we're in chimney mode, let's add in the one on the back side of the build here. I'm going to find this chimney spot, and I'm going to come to this center block using a placeholder block to come 1 block up. And I'll place in those 2 here like this. So you can see it's kind of set off to one side. I've also gone ahead and removed those temporary blocks. I'm going to add in a couple of stairs now and come back with some of these blocks, and I'm going to build up 3 high and then 1 to the back in the center. Now we've got some more stairs coming forward and then upside down on this side like this as well. This chimney's got a lot of stairs in it, and we're using them to create shape. So I've got 1 upright and then upside down, and again on this side. Just like this. I'm going to add in a couple of blocks here and some upside down stairs. I'm going to need some temporary blocks for this next layer because all of them are going to be upside down, and you can see I'm rotating them around to create this kind of upside down platform shape like this. In the center, I'm going to add in some chiseled stone brick, stairs on either side, and then to finish this chimney off, again we have our stone brick walls. So if we just step back, it should look like that. And from the back, like this. I've come down to the base of this chimney now, and we're going to add in the decoration. I'm going to start with some stone brick and build 3 high all the way across like this. Then on this rightmost side, I'm going to add another 3. Then we've got a stone brick, a chiseled stone brick, and a stone brick here, and a couple of stairs placed like this. Now we're going to come forward a little bit. We're going to create an L shape with the stone brick. Then we've got our 2 stairs placed like this, and we've got some walls, 2 here and 2 here. So here's what we've got so far. Let's work up the chimney now. So we've got 2 stone brick going in with a wall facing this way. Then we've got a stair facing that way. We've got a stair followed by a chiseled stone brick and an upside down stair next. We've got 2 upside down stairs on either side of this stair and some stone brick on top of that. Then on this side, I'm going to have it facing like this, and on this side, I'm rotating round so it's at an angle. On this same side, I'm going to place in 2 more stairs like that. We've got 2 stone brick on here and our final stair for this chimney. And then finally, we've got 2 stone brick walls. So let's take a step back. Here's how my chimney looks. If yours isn't exactly the same, that's totally okay. You can see how I've just having it taper a little bit as we get towards the top. And it starts out wider at the base and gets close to the wall as we go up. Now we can go ahead and work on these windows and doors. For the doors, for now, I'm just going to remove the temporary blocks and replace it with a dark oak door. Then for all the windows, I'm going to go ahead and switch out my temporary block for some of this lime stained glass. The spooky color palette is really coming together now. Let's add in some window decorations. We're going to start on these singular windows, which are 4 high. We've got them all throughout the build, so we've got the ones up on the turrets and over on that side. But I'm going to leave out these windows where they're grouped together. I'm going to start by placing a stripped dark oak log at the bottom with stairs on either side. I've then got them coming up like this, followed by 2 fences. Then we're going to finish off the top by creating an archway. Like that. To finish off this decoration, I'm going to add in 4 chains, just in the center like this. I'm going to go ahead and add the stripped dark oak logs to the base of each of the windows that'll be getting this decoration. So I'm leaving these 3 at the back, but these 2 will get the decoration, as well as these 3 at the top. I've got to do these 2 on this side, the one on top of the turret, the one over here, and then last but not least, these 2 on this side. So let's get going. Next, we're going to work on these groupings of windows. Let's start on this grouping of 2 windows. I'm going to place in my stripped dark oak log here with 2 stairs either side, followed by 2 dark oak slabs. We've got 3 stairs going on top of here. I'm going to build up 3 high in the center with dark oak fences and 2 high on either side. And now that my ghost fences have rendered in, I'm going to go in with a few more stairs. We've got some here, on top of here. We're going to create a nice little archway next with some logs, and then I'm going to finish it off here with a slab in the center. The final detail for this window, just like on our 1 high wide windows, is some chains going up in front of the glass. And we can get working on this 3 wide window. For this one, I'm going to place dark oak logs here and here with 3 stairs. We've also got slabs off to either side. Going in with some stairs again in between each window. And we're going to build up 2 high with fences. We've got some upside down stairs on top like this, as well as some logs here and here. Now we're going to create our little archway, and we're using some dark oak trapdoors on either end. And then finally we've got our chains. It should look like this. We're going to create this same design round on the 3 grouped window at the back of the build. So again, starting with our logs and stairs, then we've got our slabs and some more stairs. If you're enjoying today's video, I'd really appreciate it if you consider liking and subscribing. And if you'd like to access some exclusive benefits like world downloads and access to a multi-world server where you can build alongside me and some other great Minecrafters, check out my Patreon. I'd love to have your support. We're almost there with all of our window decorations, but we just have these 1 high windows as well as a couple 2 high windows to decorate. For all of these, we're going to have 2 slabs with a fence, then some trapdoors on either side, so it'll look like this. So we've got the ones above each of the doors. We've got the one in this gable here. And then we've got two high windows at the very top of our turret, which will do exactly the same way, just making it 2 high like this. Let's take a step back and have a look at our whole haunted house so far. The next detail we're going to add are these here porches. So we're going to start with some stripped dark oak logs on the corner. Then I'm going to count 3 across and add in some more, so that'll take us to the wall. For this front one, we've got one on each of the corners here. We're going to start against the wall and count 3, add in another one, count 3 like this. And then for the final one, just in the corners again. I'm also going to go ahead and fill in the floor of each of these areas. You can see that on the two front sides of the build, we don't have a lot of space as it's taken up by the windows, so these are purely decorative, of course except for the ones leading up to the doorways. Now that those are in, I'm going to take some dark oak stairs and I'm just going to go ahead and join up the posts like this around the outline. Where we have our stairs leading up, we're going to have an upright stair. And again on this side one as well, we have an upright stair in the center. Now if you've marked in an outline like I have, you can go ahead and use whatever your ground block is in the area, in my case grass, just to replace them underneath here so they're not visible. Like that. For the next step, we're taking some anvils and we're using this to create the railing. You can see I'm leaving out the side in front of the door. We're also going to be using these anvils on top of the logs. And actually I want these ones facing this way like this. There we go. On top of each of these, I'm going to have a fence. Round on this side, I'm going to leave these 2 out. And on top of the anvils that make up the railing, we're going in with some dark oak trapdoors. We're also going to place these dark oak trapdoors around the base of each of the posts. And I'm going to add in some buttons on these posts as well. Before we move on to the roof, we're going to add a little bit more detail to this front section here. I'm going to start by building up 1 higher with fences on each of the posts. Then I'm going to add in 2 more stripped dark oak logs. On either side, I'm going to add a dark oak stair here and here with a gate underneath. And at the front, we're going to create an archway. We've got 2 stairs this way, then on top like this, and 1 here, I've also got a trapdoor going in here, and we're going to add in a few more trapdoors at the top of the posts, followed by a few stone buttons, like that. Next, I'm going to come inside of this area and create a little U shape at this flush level here with some stone brick slabs, and then go on top with some stone. To finish it off, to add on the roof, we're going to add in a gate here. So that's how it should look. I've grabbed out all of my deep slate material, so we're going to start working on this roof. Beginning with some deep slate tile slabs, I'm going to come out, so I'm sticking one out over this edge, and you can see I'm sitting on top of the trapdoors. The next layer we're going to come up, and we're just going up by a slab each time. Then we'll work down again on the other side. Now to finish off the look, I'm going to skip this first row, coming back one, and just add a slab underneath like this. So it should look like this from the front. The next roof we're going to work on is this one on the side here. I'm going to come round to the back to begin with, and starting with some deep slate tile stairs, I'm placing them upside down so they stick out one on this end, and so that they're sticking one over this wall. Then we've got a row of stairs next, like this, coming up. Then another row of stairs on top, and we're just following along the outline created by this roof. So the next layer will be a row of deep slate tiles, then another row of stairs, some more tiles, and some more stairs, and then finally we've got 2 tiles on top of each other for the top layer. We're going to do the same thing on the front side of the build now, except this time we're just going to leave out the blocks where the chimney is. I'm going to make sure for here I go behind the chimney. And there we go, we're all the way up at the top. Now for the edging, we're going to use some polished deep slate stairs. So I'm going to start by just following along the basic outline of the roof. I'm going to go up 3 blocks this time, and the other side as well. Then I'm going to come underneath the roof to finish off the edge by adding in a few extra blocks. So we've got slabs here, and we've got a couple of stairs, and finally a slab at the very top. So it should look like this. Now for the top edge of this roof, I'm going to place in a couple of polished deep slate walls going up. Then starting with an anvil, we're going to go anvil, wall, anvil, wall, anvil till we reach the end. On top of that, we're going to have a row of iron bars. So here's how it looks. Next, we're going to work on this large roof, which has a mansard design. We're going to start with some deep slate tile stairs, working our way around, and then when we get to the corner, we'll switch and place it in a polished deep slate. I'm going straight in front of the chimney here. And I'll just skip over where we have our roof joining. And finish like that. I'm not going around where our turret is. For the next layer, I'm going to place in a chiseled, or rather a deep slate tile with a stair on top. Then on the corners, we've got 2 polished deep slate. And again, I'm just going underneath the chimney and placing my stairs on either side. And for the final layer of the roof, we're just going to build up 2 high with the deep slate tiles. And then when we get to the corner, we're going to build up 3 high with the polished deep slate blocks. Next, I'm going to fill in the roof here with some deep slate tile slabs at this level here. By placing them just a slab below the top, it means that you won't have mobs spawning in survival, which is always useful. Onto some decoration now. I'm going to place 2 deep slate walls on top of each of our polished deep slate. Then along the edges, I'm going to start with an anvil, and I'll place those on every other one, and a polished deep slate wall in between. And finally, we're going to add some iron bars on the very top. So you can see we've tied the 2 types of roofs together here by having the same decoration on the top. Don't forget you'll need to hold shift when you place the iron bars on top of your anvils. The final roof we need to add is right up here on the turret, and this is going to be the same style as the roof down here. I'm going to start by building along this edge with some upside down deep slate tile stairs like this. Then we've got a row of right way up ones, a row of blocks, stairs, blocks, stairs, and then finally 2 blocks at the top. And along the other side. Now to finish off the edges of this roof, we're just going to go in with the polished deep slate and building up 3 at the very top. And we're going to come up this side as well. And up here. And then to fit it in with the other roof designs, we've got to finish off the edge underneath here with a couple of slabs and stairs. And we also want to add the decoration along the top, starting with anvils and our walls. And finishing with some iron bars. I've organised my inventory now to put in the final details on this build, starting with some decorations around this door. I'm going to be using some grindstones, placing them either side, followed by some dark oak fences. I've got a slab placed above the door, and then 2 stairs on either side to create an archway. So it should look like this, and I'm going to create this same decoration around here on the other door. There we go. Next, I'm going to move up to this turret here, and we're going to create a similar railing like we have down there. So we're going to start by placing some posts in each corner, followed by some upside down stairs. Next, we've got our anvils going in. Our dark oak trapdoors. And I'll place these around the bottoms of these posts as well. I've got some buttons next. And finally, a few fences. So we should have this. For the next part of the decoration, I'm going to need dark oak stairs and slabs. I'm going to start coming in by placing some stairs like this to create a zigzag pattern. And I'm going to come in from either side, starting with my right way up stair. When I get to the center, I'm going to go in with a slab, so we have a little wave like this. Now going backwards, we're going to again start with our right way up stair on the corner, and we can just add 1 more stair there. just like that. Underneath this, I'm going to place in some dark oak fence gates, and for these I'm just going to go like this all the way around. Like that. I'm going to create the same design on the border between the first and second story. So I'm going to start on the front here with my first 2 stairs coming in from either side. Now let's work back this way, again starting with our right way up stair. In this corner I'm just going to go ahead and add in a slab. Let's work from this corner now, and you can see how I'm working from the outside corner each time. I find it easiest to go in with all of the upright stairs to begin with, and then I can go ahead and place my upside down stairs off of those. And I'll just need to creep in here to place in the last upside down stair. Like that. Let's work on this one. For this one, we're going to be coming in from either side. And I'm going to figure out where my center is to make sure I place a slab in the center. And for this one, I'm going to have the slab on the lower level to continue that nice curve. Now onto this side. So we've just got 1 stair here. Then I'm going to come in from this side until I reach the center, which is where this central window is here. So it looks like my slab is going to be on the bottom half. And I'll place in all my upside down stairs. And then I'm just going to do the same pattern, but working back this way, kind of pretending as if the chimney wasn't there. So you can see it's nicely centered above the center of that wall. I'm also going to do this little gap in here. And like we did before, I'm going to go in with some gates now. We're also going to create the same swirly design underneath this gable. So I'm going to start by placing in my slab and then just work my way to either side. I'm just going to creep underneath to make sure I get all my stairs in here, and I want to make sure that I'm starting off with the nice curved shape like this. Then I'll go in with some more of the dark oak fence gates to make everything tie together with the rest of the build. There we go. Now moving on to this story of the build, we're going to be using some more of these grindstones, and I'm going to be alternating between grindstone and anvil. So I'm going to need to place in some dark oak trapdoors to place my anvils on. Then I'll go a grindstone, dark oak trapdoor with an anvil. Let's work on the other side, so we'll go grindstone, trapdoor, anvil, grindstone, trapdoor, and an anvil. Now coming around on the back side of the build, you'll notice that I won't need to put in the trapdoor as it'll sit on top of the window frame. So let's go ahead and add all of those in. I'm going to go right in front of the chimney here. So in this case, I will need to add 1 trapdoor. Oh, and 1 here too. But for the rest, I can just continue along like this. I'm going to do this all the way around this squared off roof, as well as on the top of this roof. So let's finish this one and move on to the turret. Now for the turret, we're definitely going to be needing to place in our trapdoors. So I'm going to go around with my grindstones first, and then I'll come back in and add in all those anvils. I can add the 2 at the front here. Now for the trapdoors, I'm going to place it up here in the corner, and then in place for the anvils along the sides of the walls. Alright, let's cast a magical Halloween witches spell and get this decorated. Okay, I've changed into my Witch Wild outfit and let's have a look at how I've decorated the exterior of this build and how I've gone about adding in staircases and fireplaces. We're going to head inside the build first. As we first walk in, you can see I've created a grand staircase, so we can walk up from either side, ready to get into the second story of the build, like this. Then to reach the attic of this build, I've added a ladder, which conveniently pops up in this little corridor into the attic. And then I've added a doorway leading into the turret, and of course I've got a ladder leading all the way up to the very top. And from up here, you can look out on a very nice view. Now let's head back down and check out these fireplaces. We have two in this build and I've placed them alongside the chimneys. If we head over here, you can see I've created a fireplace like this, just in front of where we have our chimney. And then if I come back down my staircase, I've got one over here as well. As we walk out the build, you can also see that the details in this staircase mirror the details on the railing on the exterior of the build. This just helps tie everything together. Now we're outside the build and look at that. It certainly looks spooky. We've got a lot of details going on here, so let's check them out. Down here on the left-hand side of the build, I've created a perfect pumpkin patch. So I've gone ahead and added in my farmland, and you can see I haven't done this in perfect squares. I've got a very natural shape. I've then planted my pumpkins and let them grow, and then once they have, I've placed some sea pickles on a couple of them. This gives them a slightly more realistic look. And you can also see I've got some cobwebs dotted in and about this spooky pumpkin patch. And to add to the pumpkin patch, I've got myself a scarecrow here with a jack-o'-lantern face, which helps illuminate the area. Surrounding the entire build, I've got these ruined fences, and to create these, I simply just marked in a couple little squiggly lines with the stone brick, and then added in some walls and fences. And of course, I've got a gate welcoming us into the build. In front of this part of the build, I've created a little magical potion brewing area with a cauldron here, and then this swirling potion over here. And then for lighting up the path, I've created these magical floating skull lanterns just by placing in the skulls with the lantern hanging on them like that. For the rest of the illumination, I've got some pumpkins dotted around here as jack-o'-lanterns. They're such a great way to light up at this time of the year. I've got some ghosts floating about my haunted house. I've gone ahead and created a couple banners, this one here and this one here, as well as some border banners, like we can see, I think this one up here has them. And you can see that they create some great ghosts. And of course, I think these ghosts might have floated out of the graveyard over here, so I've created a few different styles of graves sticking to just a few materials, and the ones that we've used in the build here, just tying everything together. When decorating your haunted house, I think it's always a good idea to create different zones around the build. But because this is such an intricate and detailed build, I like to keep the decorations relatively low and spaced just a little bit away from the build, so that way your wonderful haunted house can really be the showstopper. If you have Discord, be sure to join my server and share some pictures of your haunted house. I'd love to see how you decorate it. So now you have a show-stopping build for Halloween or a Victorian mansion. If you enjoyed today's video, I'd really appreciate it if you consider liking and subscribing, and check out my Patreon if you'd like to support me further and get some awesome benefits. I'll see you in another video, and happy Halloween!